I'm a big believer in becoming known for being something, not trying to be everything to everyone.
Oh, Mike, don't say that.
Clients have reached out to me and said, could you help me sell my property? And it could be a $3 million home. And unfortunately, I have to say thanks so much, but this is the best person to speak to. I just specialise in apartments.
You're in the cutting edge of a lot of the stuff with social media out there.
Okay, so what the actual...
To me, I'm just following where the attention is.
487, yes. Thank you very much.
And social media right now is where the most attention is. We sold a property recently that the buyer bought it sight unseen. She sort of saw the walkthrough video on Instagram.
Good result, power straight. We had 3 bidders in the end.
Now sold 26 properties directly from social media.
Joining us, and I'm a special host today, and we've also got a special guest on Thought Leaders. I'm really happy to have this guest with us today, and that's Luke Saville. He's from the agency, someone who I've just seen evolve and grow over the last couple of years. So Luke, did I pronounce your surname right just firstly?
Well, look, it's not what most people would call me, but I reckon it sounds a little bit like it's usually Saville. But
Saville Road, London, of course.
Saville says, I don't know. Saville makes me sound a little bit more posh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I think I prefer Savile Row in London, so I'll go with Saville, Luke Saville. Yeah. So, Luke, thanks for joining us today, mate. We're really excited to have you here on Thought Leaders. For the listeners here today, from what I know of you and my perception and many other people's perception that may know you, is you're a TikTok sensation, you're a beast on the social media. So we'd love to know a little bit of the background of yourself, Luke. Tell us about, like, you know, your how you've evolved in the last couple of years. You can really see a niche down in a particular market, and that's apartments in the area. Was that the case all the time? Like you doubled down in and niching yourself into the apartment market, or was it just like doing a bit of everything?
The last 2.5 years it's probably about 2.5 years ago. I made the decision that I'm just going to say no to anything that's not an apartment or a unit in my territory, which is sort of, Hawthorn, Richmond, Toorak, Armidale, those kind of areas, predominantly around Hawthorn. And so anything that came my way, I had to agree at the time, and I tried to do this a few times. You don't want to say no to a $2 million house, even if it's slightly outside of your core area. Mm-hmm. So that was a pretty difficult decision to make. And I've now made that decision a lot of times over, where I've had phone calls or clients have reached out to me and said, could you help me sell my property? And it could be a $3 million home. And unfortunately, I have to say thanks so much, but this is the best person to speak to. I just specialise in apartments. I'm at a point now where I'm numb to it. So I'm like, look, I know it's the right decision, but I reckon for the first 12 months, it was a really hard thing to do because it's a lot of money that you're saying no to.
I could imagine, Luke. I mean, like someone going, I got a $3 million house to sell, and you're like, I'm sorry, no, I've got an appointment. I'm heading off to do a $450,000 one-bedroom apartment. Man, that must have been tough and hard to make that decision.
Any agent I speak to, they think I'm crazy because they're like, why wouldn't you just take it on? But I'm just a big believer in specialising and niching down into a certain part of the market, and becoming known for being something, not trying to be everything to everyone. And I look back now, and over the last 12 months, there's absolutely no doubt that that's what's attributed to a lot of the sales that we've made over the last 12 months, is that people, local homeowners, see us as Luke's the guy that sells apartments and units. So it's definitely worked.
Since when has social media been a major part of your business? Because I look at everything from your TikToks through to your Instagram, just even recently, I'm just loving your listing descriptions on certain properties that are just like, I'm walking out of some bridge hotel at, I don't know, 11 p.m. and then I'm getting my latte in the morning, but I'm taking a Yarra walk and I need some Voltaren. So I'm like, I love it. I'm like, it is so edgy. It is so different. But when did social media really become part of your business that really sort of shaped a lot of your business, I feel?
It's funny. On Sunday, I got, how Facebook and Instagram give you your 1 year anniversaries of posts that you made on that day?
Yes.
So the very first post that I put up on TikTok and Instagram was Sunday just gone last year. And that was the first property that we'd sold directly from social media. Wow. It was 12 months, effectively. I've been using social media for longer than that, but not in an effective way. Since 12 months and 2 days ago, we've now sold 26 properties directly from social media. No advertising whatsoever.
Was there a particular property that you sold or a particular video that you put up that may have gone viral or really got like a lot of views and traction in the marketplace, and you did differently compared to something most people do?
Well, might have been the second one that I put up was and this is not something that I would usually sell, but it was a property in Collingwood just because it's a little bit out of area. But I put up a walkthrough video. For the videos that I post, they'll say what, $1 million buys you in Collingwood, for example, is what that one said. And it had close to 1 million views. I don't know how many comments. There were hundreds and hundreds of comments. Might have been close to 1,000 comments. And most of them were like abusive comments either towards me or towards the property, which was fun. But that was when I realized, I'm like, this is, and most of the buyers who were coming through the campaign as well were saying, we saw the video, it came up on our TikTok or it came up on our Instagram or our Facebook.
Yeah.
Like 90% of the buyers walking through the property were saying that. Like we've seen the walkthrough, and I'm like, wow, like if it's reaching that many people, this has got legs. Like we need to keep doing it. And so since then I've posted one for every single listing that we've had.
You're really talking around a narrative with your listing descriptions that you've done. It's like you're actually telling a story. And I was reading your description, and I think I could find like 3 different buyer persona prompts, like the first home buyer, the empty nester who wants a ground floor apartment and got the grandkids on the weekend, the investor. So I was like, wow, like when did you make that change with your listing descriptions, which again, I feel would be very, very different to anyone else that I've seen in the marketplace. Like you get so engaged just wanting to keep reading it.
I appreciate you saying that, because I put a lot of there's a lot of time and effort put into these. Like every single one, I spend so much time, and I keep thinking, like I should be doing something else. But people seem to really enjoy them. I'd say like March, April this year is when I started doing them, and I would walk through the apartment, and then I would think, who is the likely buyer going to be, and what does their profile look like? And so if it was, for example, a 2-bedroom apartment at 600,000, chances are it's probably going to be a young first home buyer, maybe 28 years old. A lot of our first home buyers seem to be females, not males. So a lot of our copy is geared towards females. And then just imagining, like for me, because I know the area so well, I would imagine what their life would be like living in that apartment. And then like I use ChatGPT to help me clean the copy up. So I'll give it the story of what I want it to tell.
So good.
And then it helps, clean it up and structure it in a way that's a lot easier to scroll through. It felt like a very out there thing to do. Like I was a bit unsure on how people would take it. And so I never put them on real estate or domain or anything like that. They were just for fun on Instagram or TikTok. And then I had a vendor, which is the most unlikely vendor you would expect. He's the early to mid 70s, had a beautiful old Art Deco sort of $1 million apartment in Hawthorne. And, I had no idea, but he was on Instagram, and he said, so I'd done the copy for his property on Instagram, and then we'd also had professional copy done for real estate and domain, like the usual boring copy. And Tegan, who works with me, sent him the proof to read through it and look at the photos online and make sure he's happy before we went on to real estate and domain.
Yeah.
And he said, he's like, what's this write-up? It's terrible. And I was like, oh, shit, all right. He's like, it's just boring, Luke. Like, it's not doing anything. And I said, I was like, all right, well, let me fix it up. And he goes, just use the one that you used on Instagram. It was bloody great. And I was like, oh, all right. I was like, sure. I mean,
that's so cool.
And so when he said that, I was like, all right, I'm just doubling down here. I don't care.
Yeah, you're on the right pathway with this one.
Yeah. We sold a property recently that, the buyer bought it sight unseen. She saw the walkthrough video on Instagram. And when I spoke to her on the phone after it went unconditional, I said, oh, pretty amazing, because she lived in New Zealand and couldn't make it over. And I said, it's pretty amazing that you've decided to buy this sight unseen. She said, look, the video obviously helped. She had nobody go through it for her either. She said the video obviously helped. But she said the copy, reading through it word for word, and it's probably still my favourite one to date. She said, I fell in love with it. She's like, I just could picture myself and imagine myself living there with the way that the copy had been written.
Well, you know what, storytelling, right? Like you're actually telling a story about the apartment, and I mean, I read your listing descriptions on Instagram, and I'm thinking, wow, the Boozy Rouge. Next time I'm in Melbourne, I've got to go to that place, the Boozy Rouge, right? Like, I'm not just selling, the apartment. You're actually selling a lifestyle in the area. Is that something that came to your own intuition, or is that something that you've seen someone else do it? I mean, I've never seen it here in Australia, but what was it for you that sort of like got you to that sort of thinking? Did you see something, or it just gave you an intuition like, I've got to do something different here with my listings?
Pretty much. That was it. Like I was just, I'm in a market where it's very heavily dominated by some big companies down here, and a lot of sort of franchises, but also big private companies like your Marshall Whites and your Jellis Craigs and your Kane Burtons. And so the agency being relatively new still as a brand down here, I knew I needed to do something different and sort of layer the points of difference so that people could actually see that there was a really good reason to go with me and not go with one of the safe brands that have been working in the area for, 30, 40, 50 years.
Luke, obviously you're in the cutting edge of a lot of the stuff with social media out there. How big is it today in real estate, do you feel?
To me, I'm just following where the attention is, and social media right now is where the most attention is, especially for the market that I'm in. But I wouldn't just exclusively say it's people under the age of 35, 40. The amount of direct messages and clients that we've sold to that have been 60, the lady from New Zealand's a prime example. Like she was nearly 70 years old. I think as an agent, if you're not putting your clients' properties on there, and I mentioned this recently on Instagram, like I feel like you're doing a disservice to your clients if you're not exposing their properties outside of the usual websites that you're on. You're missing out. And if the shoes were on the other feet, like if I was in the owner's situation, I'd be disappointed if I knew that my property could be in front of 30, 40, 50,000 other eyeballs, and it's not.
How much is AI playing in your business today? And what are some of the things that have helped you? Like I say, AI never will replace us, but it will partner us or support us in some of the things that we do. But how has AI played in your business?
I use it a lot personally, just playing around with it. If I've got things on my mind that usually, like 3 years ago, you'd jump on Google and you'd have to go down this rabbit hole for 3 hours trying to find an answer, like it will answer like that. But from a business perspective, I probably haven't dabbled in it enough to really see the advantages, especially from a team admin perspective, which I think Sam's been looking into a lot more.
Do you use any AI tools? Like I see some of your videos that, the walkthroughs, they go fast, they go slow. Do you use any particular marketing tools in that respect with your marketing for videos and so forth, Luke?
Just in the apps themselves. So nothing outside of that. And I feel like as agents, and this is something I fell into a few years ago when I've always seen the power of how strong social media is, and it's only grown, especially for real estate. But I always fell into the trap of thinking, I need this before I can do that. And it's just not true. Like most of the videos that perform the best are the ones that are raw, like they're, and that's what, like we're about to start this weekend, start doing live auctions and do TikTok live, do Instagram live, and actually auction them, which makes me nervous as the auctioneer. But I just feel like it's what people want. Like they want to know that it is raw, it's in the moment, it's genuine. You could stuff up at any point, and like that's the beauty of it. That's what keeps you watching.
But talk to me a little bit about that balanced life where you're doing 100 sales plus. You got team members in there. But how do you put time enough for the family and be there around for them as well? Like, how does that work for you, Luke?
I'd say the first one and the most important point is I've got an unbelievable wife that runs the entire family, and she's fortunate enough. We're all fortunate enough that she doesn't have to work as such. If I said that to her, she'd slap me in the face and say, "Well, I am working," but she's not employed. But Sam just loves being around the kids. So she's a very natural mum. And so that makes my job a lot easier.
Yep.
Most of my days would look like, I don't usually start appointments until 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I'll spend the first couple of hours in the morning with the kids and make them breakfast, and we'll play games. And like we did this morning, and one of them loses and screams and throws a tantrum. But
and then you give that back to Sam and go, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's when I get to the shower and get ready to leave. Yeah, it's I would say probably one of the best things I learned when I was working, I worked at Marshall White for a long period of time and worked under, James Tosterman was one of the leaders there that did a lot of training with us. And he is exceptional at chunking appointments and looking at his calendar for the week and chunking appointments into certain days. So you're not sort of going out to 2 appointments on a Monday and then 3 on a Tuesday, and then you're going back and forth from the office. And that's something that I've really put a strong focus into over the last few years. And I feel like I've got to a point now where it's quite good. Like if you looked at my diary, there's office days and there's appointment days, and the appointment days will always be stacked straight after each other. Very rarely are there big gaps. Just being efficient with time helps so that I can then spend more time with the kids and with Sam as well.
What would be some key bits of advice you would give someone today if they're in that sort of like a bit of a hole right now?
Yeah, it's the roller coaster of emotions with real estate. Like one week you're on a high because you've listed 3 properties, and then the next week you've lost 3, and that happens all the time. So I think just staying grounded and staying level throughout that process, so that you're not, if you list a few properties in a week, you're not sitting up here, because naturally you're going to come down at some point. I'm usually quite level-headed and logical about that. There's no doubt that still making phone calls and prospecting and getting indoors is the first step. And then you can use social media, and that will absolutely complement your business and take you to another level. I think you need to actually be getting in the doors first, and social media is not going to do that if you're new to the industry.
We can't forget, like you're saying, I suppose, Luke, the basics, which is conversations equals conversion, which is so true. Like the more conversations we have, it is going to lead to appointments or, build those relationships and so forth. And sometimes we just think there's a faster way and a quicker way. And really there isn't, right? All of a sudden things begin to sort of take, compound over a period of time. And then the glue all starts to come together. The social media comes together, the phone calls you've been making all of a sudden come together, etc. So great piece of advice, Luke. Great piece of advice. Congratulations on all your success, and I really appreciate your time sharing some of the wisdom, some of the things that you've done over the years here in real estate. And congratulations on all your success, mate. And here's to the future. Thanks so much for joining us, Luke.
Thanks, Claudio. Appreciate you having me on.